Gene linkage refers to the phenomenon where genes located close together on the same chromosome are inherited together because they are less likely to be separated during recombination. Chromosome mapping determines the relative positions of these genes on a chromosome by analyzing the frequency of recombination events. The closer the genes, the less likely they are to recombine. This figure explains the structure of homologous chromosomes and key genetic concepts. Chromosomes exist in pairs, each with same genes at a specific location, which we call it loci. Alleles are different forms of a gene. They can be homozygous, regardless, I'm talking about homozygous dominant or homozygous recessive, and maybe heterozygous. The centromere is the central region of a chromosome. Homologous chromosomes carry the same genes but may have different alleles contributing to genetic variation. Looking for crossing over. Crossing over is a process that occurs during meiosis where homologous chromosomes exchange segments of their genetic material. This results in new combinations of genes, increasing genetic diversity in offspring. And here, please, let's focus on the locations of genes, I mean the loci, in order to understand the gene linkage. And now, this figure shows a single chromosome with 4 genes labeled gene 1, gene 2, gene 3, and gene 4. These genes are positioned at specific loci, I mean locations, along the chromosome. Now, genes that are closer together on the chromosome, like gene 2 and gene 3, are more likely to be inherited together because the likelihood of a crossover occurring between them is really low. Genes that are further apart, like gene 1 and gene 4, are more likely to be separated by crossing over during meiosis. The prediction of linkage is that gene 1 is more likely to remain linked with gene 2 than with gene 4. Why? Because it is closer. Similarly, gene 3 is more likely to stay linked with gene 2, not with gene 1 or also with gene 4. Let's check another figure. Let's look at this figure. At the top panel, as we can see on the blue chromosome, we have the 3 genes A capital, B capital, and C capital are all linked on the same chromosome, and A small, B small, C small on the red chromosome. Now, after the crossing over, and we can see here the region where the crossing over happened in, we can now see that the A capital now linked with B and C small, and the A small here on the red chromosome linked with B and C capital. Now, at the bottom panel, before crossing over, same as before here, genes are A, B, C capital on the blue chromosome and the A, B, C small on the red chromosome. Now, after a crossing over which happens between B and C capital, breaking their linkage results in what? One recombinant chromosome has AB capital with C small, and the other one A small, B small with C capital. So it depends on the region of a crossing over and the linked genes. Let's take this example. Given the crossover recombinant frequency of each of the genes on the chart, construct a chromosome map. To construct a chromosome map, directly we'll start with the highest frequency, which is 45% between B and C, so we'll draw it in this way. Now we have between them 45 map unit. Directly we'll go to the smaller, which is 40% between B and D. So we will estimate it. It's all about simple math. B and D 40 and here 45. That means we will estimate it here. Let me just draw with D. That means between D and C around 5 map unit. Now, moving to the smaller, I mean less than 40, which is 30% between A and C. Here 5 and here 30, so we need to move here 25. I can guess that A should be here, so between C and A should be 30%, and here 25, if I'm not mistaken. That's right. Okay, so the answer will look like this. Let's do this second example. Construct a chromosome map for genes A, B, C, and D using the following crossing over data. Please pause the video and try it by yourself. Now, if you tried it, let's answer it together. Okay, first of all, let me draw the chromosome. And as I mentioned before, when you want to construct a chromosome, directly start with the highest percentage, which is between A and B. So A is here, B is there. Between them, 30% or 30 map unit. Now, what is smaller than 30%? The 25% between A and D. So by estimation and doing simple math, we can write that D should be here. So between A and D, 25. That means between D and B, 5%. Now, what is smaller than 25%? Between B and C, we have 20%. So this is B, and we have it 20. This is 5. I mean, I have to move around 15. So I can guess that C is here. So between C and D, we have 15%. And between C and B, 20%. This is the right answer. Doing the last example, the table below shows the crossover percentage between two genes of 4 genes located on the same chromosome. Use the table to answer questions below. Let's see the first question. Identify the two genes that have the highest probability of being inherited together. See this statement, highest probability. That means when they want to be linked and stay together, that means they have the shortest distance. Okay, which two genes has the shortest distance? Directly, I can guess this one. So the answer should be between A and B. These genes will be inherited together. If the question mentioned that they will not be inherited together, okay, directly I will go to whom? To the highest frequency, highest distance, B and C. But once he mentioned they will be inherited together, that means to the shortest percent or shortest distance. Let's do the other question. Construct the correct chromosome map based on the data in the table. Again, please pause the video and try to solve it by yourself. If you did it, please check your answer with me. First of all, I will construct the map by looking for the highest percentage between the genes. So as we see here, it is between B and C. Let me write it here. B here and C, between them 40 map unit or 40%. Now, what is smaller than 40? 32. Between who and who? A and C. So this is C, this is 40, 32. So I can guess that A is here. So between A and C, 32. That means between B and A, 8. How I get 8? 40 minus 32, it's 8. Now, what is smaller than 32? We have a 28 between B and D. This is B, and where I can put D, 28, we have here 8%, so we need to move here maybe to put D to have a 28. That means between D and C we have a 12. So if you do the math, you will find it. So the right answer should be in this way. That's it. Thank you.